hey everybody. Oh, hey there, everybody. What up? What up, what up, what up? How's everybody doing? How's life? How's life, man? How y'all doing? Oh, we're just gonna have a nice little stream about it. Don't worry. On the dot, Josh. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Anyway, what up? Look, it's a special day. We might have just a shorter stream than usual. Not like, you know, just a couple of minutes or whatever, but I am probably going to get out of here on a short stream, and here's why. A lot of you probably already know this, but it's Liam's birthday today. It's my son's birthday, man. I can't believe it. 3 years old. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. You know, sometimes I'll see you guys with, like, your member chats and stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, dude, been here 3 or 4 years or whatever. You know, it's crazy. Some of you guys more like 5 and shit. And it is wild, right? It's wild to think about that. But with Liam, right, and you guys probably, if you have kids, you know, you probably, you experience this as well. But it's like, dude, it feels like yesterday. Like, I remember, man, it's crazy. I just remember the whole experience, and it is, it's pretty wild. I've been a lurker for more than 5 years. Oh, damn, cheesy fish. Did you just break your streak of lurking? Because now we all know who you are. I remember you not having a kid. Yeah, I remember not having a kid as well. Now I got 2 of them. Did I ever tell you guys the story of how we found out that we were going to have another one? I think I told some of you guys this before, but it was just like this random ass day, and Liam was just being super difficult, as you do when you're a toddler. And I remember just like I was walking past the living room and Elisa was like struggling, man. You know what I mean? Because he can be a lot. And I just said something, and it was one of those things that just popped into my head, and I just let it rip. And I said, "What are you gonna do when there's 2 of them?" Just off the cuff, for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? I was just like, "What are you gonna do when there's 2 of them?" And for whatever reason, it really stuck in her head, and she couldn't get it out of her head. And so then she took a test and found out that she was pregnant with another one. She's like, damn, there's another one on the way. Hey, Bianca, appreciate you so much. Thank you for the 20 spot. Says, get Liam another toy. Happy birthday, buddy. Good job, mom and dad. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And then Toxic, what's up, brother? Thanks for the 10 spot. Says, happy birthday to Liam. Hope you and the fam are doing well, my brother. We're doing good, man. I hope you guys are doing good. On tour and everything, you know, doing everything with Theory and all that. I'd love to link up with you guys soon. You know, I'm kind of thinking, Nick, that next year will be a better year for me to get out there with you guys a little bit more. But it seems like you guys have been having a blast and killing it, meeting a whole bunch of cool people and whatnot. So appreciate the love, brother. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Rossi says, it's crazy you and Liam have the same birthday. Jesus, here we go. Josh's son can be a lot. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Kid's a lot like me, you know? His poor mother. Now she's got to deal with 2 of us, you know? If you're going to open a college fund for Liam, I suggest Pokemon cards instead of typical investing. Oh, that's wise advice. You know, hashtag not financial advice, but I'm probably going to go all in on that. It's wild you scheduled your haircut on Liam's birthday. Exactly. 100%. Exactly right. I got to get this haircut and get the fuck out of here. No, it's going to be fun, man. We're excited. We have stuff planned today. We have stuff planned tomorrow for him. So we'll get into it today. You know, it's obviously been a wild week for Marvel fans. So there's a lot to get into today. I'll talk a little bit about, you know, what Jeff Snyder revealed last night about Robert Downey Jr. and the whole thing. So we'll get into all of that. I guess we'll talk a little bit of DC. Let me see what's in my notes here. Doom stuff. Don't trust Clea. I want to do a whole segment on a single sentence of like, don't trust Clea. 3 words that Alex Perez tweeted that to me felt like he was saying, don't jump off a cliff, Josh. There's still hope for this to be cool. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Venom and Brand New Day. Oh my God, Venom's going to be there. Oh wait, no, he's not. What the fuck? We'll talk about it. And then a little bit I want to touch on New York Comic Con, man. New York Comic Con is shaping up to be kind of packed, kind of stacked this year. I wonder if the studios are going to start trying to make New York Comic Con the thing instead of San Diego Comic Con. I don't know. We'll see. No Venom is a W. Hey, you keep that energy to yourself. Your audio is out of sync. In what way? Toxic says, let's go. Would love that, bro. Hopefully we can get that going next year. Would be dope. Hell yeah. It would be great. Yeah, it would be great, man. It would be great. Got to make sure everything's handled here. You know, I got 3 kids because I've got Athena, I have Liam, and I have Unity. And to be honest with you, Unity's been a little neglected. We all know it. Got to get that shit back on track, dude. We've done over 100 pages of art. It is fucking incredible. I got to get that book out into people's hands. And the story's incredible. So, you know, once we get all of that sorted, we'll be right out. Because I want to sell Unity while we're out on the road with you guys. I want to promote Unity. You know, like Theory and I talked about having like a little space at the Theory Saber booth, or maybe I'll get a booth close by and I'll do my Unity stuff and all that. So it's going to be great. But obviously it's been a whole thing. So got to get it back on track. This year, Marvel and DC had nothing ready for San Diego Comic-Con. You know, you're right. You're not wrong. At the same time, you know, traditionally, Kevin himself has been like, Kevin Feige will schedule shooting, or at least he has in the past, literally schedule shooting so that they have stuff to show at San Diego Comic-Con. You know, so Kevin's always considered Comic-Con a big deal, and I think he's always used it as like a mecca of sorts for the MCU. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think the truth is both of the studios are in, like, you know, you look at DC, you look at Marvel, they're both in similar boats in the sense that, like, bro, like, shit's just crazy. It's hit the fan. They have to, I mean, it's, you know, it's all in time. It's time to go all in. And for DC, they're going all in because they're starting this thing and they need it to really pop. For Marvel, they're trying to like kind of claw back to that place of success or whatever. So I think both studios, Warner Brothers and Disney, just too much going on this year to just go out there and brag, and you know what I mean? The audio seems fine-ish. Which way is it though? Because I can try to adjust. I mean, here's the thing. Audio's out of sync on YouTube a little bit. I hear you, brother. I totally hear you. I'm not going to worry about it today, but I can try to tweak it and get it a little bit better. We had an issue in the past. I'm not saying it's not still off. Like, it could absolutely still be off, but it was more off before. The audio is low? Really? Well, I'm not... Your vocal is ahead by a second or so. Interesting. Really? Okay. So I could try to fix that right here in the moment, but I'll tell you, it'll probably fuck everything up. But we could try. Let me see. So you're saying time it takes between the sound occurring and being broadcast. 16 milliseconds. So you're saying that it's... The audio's ahead, so if I jack this up a little bit here... How's that? Did that fix anything? Did I make it way worse? Are we going to blame Ashton Marsh when it gets all fucked up again? Is it good? Is it better? Is it worse? Should we start messing with it? Oh my God, Josh, why do you listen to these guys? Just keep streaming. Oh my God, okay. Now you're upside down? Shit, all right. It made it worse. Sounds good. I think it's worse, honestly. What? The people who say this shit about the audio every week are legit out of their minds. Maybe. Hey, Josh, I just wanted to say, let's not take all of these leaks as true. Sure. Sure. Clap. Sound is fine. I think it was better before. All right, well, let's pull it back. Let's pull it back. We could do this all day. Let's pull it all the way back. How about this? In fact, how about this? Let's take it all the way to this. What's this feel like? Control Alt Delete? Yeah, let's Alt F4 this. Appreciate the 10 spot though. Thank you, man. All right, let's see. Here, how is it? Do we fix it? Literally nothing is changing. Perfect. Wonderful. Much better now. Pretty decent. It's good now. Really? Okay. Wow. All right. All right. Perfect. All right. Delayed. No, I'm just playing. I thought about trying to do something like this where I'm like, and then like make a clap sound or something. But if you clap a couple of more times, it might fix it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, let me ask you guys a question here. Like, we can move out of the audio. Shut up and dribble. We can move out of the audio conversation here. Let me just ask you guys, how you guys feeling, man? Like, what's the mood? What's going on with all the Marvel fans? Like, you guys all right? Are we gonna be all right, chat? You know, the homie just chimed in and said that not all the leaks could be true, and that's fair. They could not be true. They could change. They could adjust it. All that sort of stuff. Moments like this are why I come to the stream. LOL. Hell yeah. Ready for the UFC tomorrow? Yeah, it's gonna be great. Feeling great, actually. That's good. That's good. Clip it. Put it on the Clips channel. Yep. Excited for brand new day. Hesitant about Doomsday. Fair enough. Just beat Mafia, the old country, so I'm feeling good. Oh, damn. Okay. Is that game fun? Yeah. I'm a huge, I'm a little concerned as well. I'm feeling sad as a Marvel fan. Kevin needs to go. Oh, no. It's too early to be crashing out this hard about Doomsday, Josh. You know, look, here's what I'll say is I think that is true. Like, I guess I would just say totally fair to have that take. Totally fair to say it's too early to say the sky's falling. It's too early to be freaking out about this stuff. However, I didn't just make this up. Okay. And if you really like, I feel like if you just look at what's happening and you watch how this stuff has been reported, I mean, I think there's a lot that points to this being true. Like, I would love to be wrong, and maybe we're wrong about some really important things. Like, I'll say this. The thing that I think we could be most wrong about currently is the Doctor Doom thing, because I feel like the person I talk to either doesn't fully understand it or is just not telling me everything. But the main thing that I think is probably true about that is that my theory was wrong. They're not going to do this like retcon Tony Stark thing. Now, the thing I'm kind of interested in, right? Because I've seen some speculation about this, and I guess this is ultimately the problem. Is I keep trying to like theory craft and come up with ways that this makes sense, and every time I start to do it, about 5 minutes into it, I have this little voice in my head that says, why are you doing all this? Marvel doesn't even care as much as you do. They're just going to change it for convenience because they're kind of fucked. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, so what about Steve going to stay with Peggy? What about that causes the multiverse to collapse? Is it possible that that caused the multiverse itself to expand? Is it possible that Doctor Doom exists, period, just in general, because of what happened with Steve Rogers? But then it's like, okay, if that's true, then how do you square Doctor Doom wanting to kill Steve Rogers? Like, what an ironic, weird thing. Like, if that's what it is, then it doesn't make any fucking sense. Where it's like, okay, so you're telling me Doctor Doom might only exist because Steve Rogers did this, because the sacred timeline had removed Doom and the X-Men, and yet he's going to go do causal time travel to kill Steve so that the incursions don't happen. But then wouldn't he just not fucking exist? Like, none of this makes any sense. So the thing that's getting me down a little bit, and by the way, this happened to Star Wars as well. And I think Marvel and Star Wars kind of walk similar paths here. they tried to connect it all and make it all seem like it worked together. And then when it got hard or it didn't fit right together, they just broke it for convenience. The issue with that is like, so this is what happened with Star Wars. Oh man, you guys got me yapping already. But like, this is what happened with Star Wars, where, you know, Kathleen Kennedy comes out and in 2013, 2014 says the expanded universe is going away. There's not going to be any more expanded universe. And in fact, now it's all just one canon. But here's what's cool about it, right? This was her sales pitch. What's cool about it is everything you read, comics, novels, you know, the shows or whatever, all of that stuff is going to feed into the canon. So your experience as a fan will become enriched the more of this stuff that you absorb and that you buy. So you literally buy in to more Star Wars content, and what you get is more of a fleshed out, filled in universe. Here's the thing that happened though. Star Wars basically only did that right up to the movies. So anytime it was inconvenient for a director or a writer of the movies to try to like play off of what happened in the books, they would say, nope, fuck that. You've got to just rework the movie. As an example of this, I think one of the best examples of this is the Catalyst book by James Lucena. He literally had to rewrite that whole book after the whole Lord and Miller thing. Or no. It was actually because of the Tony Gilroy thing and the reshoots that happened because of Tony Gilroy coming in to fix Rogue One. He has to like literally rewrite that entire book, and it still doesn't match up with the movie. Like the characters, the way they are depicted in Catalyst is literally day and fucking night compared to the versions of the characters that were in the actual film. And then like you realize that they basically just did this every single time. So like for instance, Claudia Gray writes Bloodlines with Leia and some of those things. And remember at the time they were like, oh dude, she got notes from Rian Johnson. And it was all part of this idea to sell us as the fans on the value of purchasing this stuff. It's like, oh, you gotta read Bloodlines. Why do I have to read Bloodlines? Oh, because it's actually going to fill out something about Leia Organa and the whole history there. And she got notes from Rian Johnson. And we're all like, oh, dude, this is so cool. It all works together. But the problem was when they fucked that up, when they basically said for the sake of it being easier, oh, we're just going to ignore that. All the fans that had spent that money, time, and that investment to try to figure it out felt wronged. I felt like betrayed. You know what I mean? And I know Dave's philosophy on this is like, dude, fuck that. Like, none of that matters. Like, he doesn't like care as much about canon. He's retconned a whole bunch of stuff. I don't agree with that either. Now, if you had said from the jump that was what it was, maybe we'd be okay. But the fact of the matter is, I bought that fucking Kanan book. I bought that fucking Kanan Jarrus comic book. I am pissed that it's now been changed. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a little bit what has happened with Marvel is a similar thing where all of the connection and all of the fan theory and all of the stuff, it's like, dude, it's almost the worst possible version that could have happened where it got so bloated and convoluted that a lot of normies checked out. Then they turned around and said, oh, well, fuck that. It doesn't really matter as much. We're just going to do what we need to do for the movies. And then it left all the fans that had actually made that full-ass investment feel wronged. Does any of that make sense? Like, this is not good. Which, by the way, too, we're going to talk about, I'm still trying to be hopeful here. I still think Doomsday is going to be a really fun film and all that, right? But here's the question, right? Like, from where we're standing right now, I basically think what we are living through is Marvel did fuck everything up, and they actually fucked everything up a while ago. What we're going through right now is a sort of lingering leftover. It's almost like a ripple in the water. We're living through right now, everybody just realizing how fucked everything is. We're living through this moment where it's just becoming super obvious when you look at like Fantastic Four box office or just the numbers of these shows. And Marvel keeps moving all their shows up because they're like, dude, nobody's watching any of this shit. We're totally fucked. Just get it out so that we can have as much space between the projects and the next thing that matters as is possible. I think what we're living through right now, man, is everybody just waking the fuck up to how bad this fall off has been. And it's crazy because I'm not trying to be like a total doomer about this, or I'm not trying to say like it's over or whatever, but I would just honestly ask you, chat, do you think this is the wildest fall off we have ever seen? Yes or no? Do you think this is the wildest fall off? I'm talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe fall off. Do you think this is the wildest fall off we have ever seen? So there's some debate about this, but there's a lot of people that say yes. And I just think that, like, so those of you that are saying no, what's a worse fall off? Like, what's a worse fall off than this? The DCEU? I would argue the DCEU's fall off is not as bad because it never got quite to the heights. They never cracked $1 billion other than Aquaman, I guess. Star Wars is pretty close, but here's the problem. So here's the issue with Star Wars, right? The Star Wars fall off is pretty bad. But the Acolyte show got more viewership than fucking Daredevil, bro. And yes, it did get canceled, but I want you to really soak that in. Like, the Star Wars show that got canceled got more viewership than Daredevil. You know? So, and here's the other thing too. Like, so Star Wars it's in an interesting spot. If Mando and Grogu makes like $800 million, are we really going to say that Star Wars has fallen off? And I've made this point before too, but it's kind of interesting. It feels like Kathleen Kennedy's virtue out of all of this, because for the last couple of years, I've thought Star Wars is so much more tarnished than Marvel. Like, I have personally felt that way. I'm like, man, I just feel like Star Wars is like totally fucked. There's no future. And I've thought for a long time, at least Marvel has a future. They have X-Men, they have Secret Wars, they got a bunch of cool shit that we could look forward to, right? But what's interesting about that is, like, if you just look at the numbers, like, Marvel's making some of the best shit they've ever made with their movies. Like, these critic scores are out of control, and they're not making money. I don't know what the viewership of a lot of the full ass Marvel show, like, I don't know what the full scope of how the viewership looks on Disney Plus, but I can't imagine it's good, especially like with the Daredevil thing. Like, that's just crazy to me, right? So, like, in some ways, Kathy's greatest virtue has actually been her inability to get projects off the ground. So weird. Like, this is the thing we beat her up for years, but at the end of the day, you look at what hurt Marvel. Nobody fucking said no. They just made a million goddamn things, all of them pretty fucking mid, and they just overcooked it. They cooked it, man. They cooked the rituals. They cooked the fandom. They cooked it. Disney, Star Wars, at least had the wherewithal to not make a movie for 7 years. So the people that have checked out from Disney Plus Star Wars, bro, they haven't seen Star Wars forever. And I do wonder, like, if Mando and Grogu does pretty big numbers, it'll indicate to me that, hey, there's a lot of life left in that Star Wars brand, despite everything we thought. You know? Yeah, what's the other fall-offs, though? Is there any other fall-offs that you can imagine, that you can really think of? Did you see Charlie Cox saying that season 2 might be the final season? Yeah, I saw that. People say Marvel's fallen off every year, so say Marvel is back every movie. It's in a middle spot. Yeah, there's some truth there. How many times we got to talk about this? What do you mean? How many times do we have to talk about what? The greatest fall-off in the history of fall-offs? Oh, I don't know. Probably a couple more times at least. Walking Dead? Walking Dead had a pretty big fall-off. Walking Dead certainly fell off. That is pretty great. Star Trek, sure. Star Trek had a pretty big fall-off, yeah. Drake fell off worse than the MCU? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, dude. Maybe. I wasn't that into Endgame because of the time travel and especially the blip. It was overcomplicated. It's so complicated to write time travel. I'm afraid they're going to make the same mistakes with Doomsday. Yeah, that's fair, man. That's fair. I think it is fair to say I'm a bit worried about the time travel elements in Doomsday for sure. Lost or The 100? See, but like Lost didn't really fall off. It just had a terrible fucking ending. I don't think that's the same thing. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Halo fell off pretty hard. Yeah. Halo had a pretty hard fall off. Warhammer fell before it even took off. Jesus Christ. Game of Thrones, pretty big fall off. Hard to say, man. I mean, the House of the Dragon show is very successful. I don't know about the fall off. They no longer a part of the pop culture, and Infinity and Endgame got them into. Yeah, a little bit. Diddy? Yeah, Diddy had a pretty good fall off. I'd say so. Kendall the Yapper. Welcome back to the Nerd Avengers, baby. Look at that. Streamlabs says Warhammer is the greatest franchise ever, putting Star Wars and Marvel and DC to shame. I don't know who put that into the Streamlabs, but hell yeah. Hell yeah. Rivals? No, not even close. Rivals had a bit of a fall off. Rivals still doing pretty good though. Westworld? Yo, that's facts. Westworld had a pretty big fall off. Yo, fuck Westworld, to be honest with you. Yo, fuck Westworld. Westworld season 1, maybe one of the best first seasons ever. And I have a soft spot for season 2. I actually thought it was cool, but goddamn, dude, that show just didn't know what the fuck it wanted to do. Uh-oh, Ross. Uh-oh. I mean, you might be right, but I can't admit it publicly because I'm just not sure. You know, they might still. I'm just not sure. Someone said Will Smith. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Power Rangers had a pretty decent fall off. Yo, I just randomly saw a clip from a Power Rangers show on Twitter that actually made me kind of interested, where Tommy was back and he became the Gold Ranger. What the fuck is that? What the hell is this shit with the Gold Ranger? That's crazy. What is that? Has Disney made a Western cowboy type show, and do you think that it would be good? I'm not really sure, but I will say this. Speaking of cowboy shows, I watched a movie last night called Old Henry. You guys ever heard of this? Do you guys ever hear about this? Dude, it was kind of cool, man. It was like an unassuming old rancher, you know, some gangsters, or I guess a plot of a gangster criminal thing finds its way to his property. He gets involved, unfortunately, and then it gets revealed that he's Billy the Kid. He's an old retired Billy the Kid. Bro, it was cool. I was like, damn, this is really cool. And also, the guy that played the leader plays the lead Billy the Kid, dude. And you're just like, my God, they wasted him in Marvel for sure. DCU Batman news? Is there news? What's the news? Power Rangers Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury is good on Netflix. Damn, I might have to do it. I might have to get a little binge in there. You see Bo's new comments? No, I didn't see Bo's new comments. What the fuck Bo gotta say anyway? The fuck this dude even saying? Let me guess. I take it all back. You know what? I've been hard on Marvel. I really like Marvel, and I wish that I hadn't been so hard on them, and maybe I over-exaggerated shit. Is that what he said? The Last of Us. I heard The Last of Us fell off pretty hard. I don't know. I wouldn't know because I didn't watch it. Gotta watch it with Liam? Hell yeah. Jared from Subway? Yeah, there's a pretty good fall off there. Antonio Brown had a crazy fall off. Did he though? I don't know. It's hard to say. He's telling some truths though. He may well be telling some truths. What were the new comments? Can somebody send them to me or whatever? I don't have anything against Bo. You know what I mean? I just like to try to filter what he says through what I think is just fair, you know? Are we talking about the new Raptors and the Warp Talons? Dude, that unit for the Sisters of Battle seems really cool. The fact that they're blanks is so interesting too. I I mean, that's so wild to me, but it's cool. My buddy plays Sisters or whatever, so I was telling him about that earlier. Yeah. My pants are pretty good fall off. Oh, shit. Okay. Maybe get a belt, you know? Okay, so you guys are pointing out some pretty good fallouts. Okay, so I will say thanks for that. Good job. Not gonna lie, yeah, you had some pretty good fallouts. But at the end of the day, Marvel's having a pretty fucking big one. Okay, and yes, maybe we'll be back, and yes, maybe things will be okay, and yes, maybe things are gonna be dope again. But I just I don't know, man. Like, this has been one hell of a week, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, there's all sorts of ways. I'll say this. I'm open to this being cool. I'm open to this thing being better. But a lot of what we heard this week kind of sucked. So should we talk about what Jeff Snyder said last night a little bit? A lot of you guys brought this up, man. It's crazy. Like, you guys will hear this kind of stuff, and then I get tagged like 3 or 4, 5 times on the Discord. And everybody wants me to oh, did you hear about this and all that, right? So yes. There were comments made from Jeff Snyder last night about the set of Doomsday and about the shooting. Okay, so I guess we'll get into this. Let me talk about it. So, according to Jeff, number one, he said the chaos on this set is only rivaled by the chaos from Fast and the Furious movies, which, I mean, is that what you want to hear? Right? Like, is that what you want to hear? No. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that you hear and you're like, okay, great, you know? But at the same time, you know, I think Jeff himself has stated that this is basically what all big movies are like. We heard a lot of this when it came to Superman. Superman, interestingly enough, is going to become a really important movie for Doomsday, because we heard all the Superman leaks and we didn't like them. There were all these worries and concerns about Superman behind the scenes. The production went through a lot of issues. And yet the movie turned out pretty good. You know what I mean? I liked the movie. So, you know, with all of that in mind, it's important to keep in mind that when we hear all of this stuff, I guess for me, it's like this, man. I guess, you know, all of this shit is starting to become clear. You know? To me, all of this shit is starting to become clear. It's pretty obvious that, yes, Marvel had some plans. Yes, 2-3 years ago, they were interested in Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which, by the way, they didn't have a fucking plan for it then. They just thought it would be cool. So, yes, Marvel has had plans and been setting stuff up. But I also think it's fair to say that a lot of this stuff that's happened over the past couple of years has been desperation. And I feel like they cut a bunch of corners. They threw a lot of shit out. And they're basically just rushing to the finish line. I mean, they are literally they are rushing to the finish line of Doom destroying the whole multiverse and getting into a new universe. Okay, so yeah, I mean, to me, that's obviously what's happening. And so, you know, you got to ask yourself this: would you imagine that the movie where the Russo brothers basically get off the couch to come do the movie after not making a Marvel movie for 6 years, getting off the couch, coming to do this film, and this movie that was just a couple of years ago, Kang Dynasty, and supposed to come out in 2025, this year, is it possible, or does it surprise any of us, that movie with those guys and this guy Robert Downey Jr. at the helm, does it surprise anybody that is a mess? You know, and we've heard all this stuff about how the script isn't finished and they have all this and they're trying to work every character in, and they just delayed the thing for 7 months. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me they delayed this thing for 7 months. It's now becoming pretty fucking clear that the plot was gutted from Kang Dynasty and they're just rushing to the end of the line with Doom. Does it surprise anybody that the set has crazy shit going on? It shouldn't. And you can choose to be really concerned about it if you want, or you can choose to be like, you know what? Of course that's what it is. But it's also all in time. This is the most important movie for Marvel ever. And they have the biggest movie star ever. And he's the godfather of the MCU. And they're clearly bringing Evans back. And Chris Evans as Captain America is a huge part of this as well. It's a big lead-in and a setup for Secret Wars. So I don't know that like this story about Downey and the story of the set should be A, that surprising, or B, really that concerning. I think part of the issue becomes it's just been a down week. Like things just feel down because of the leaks a little bit, but also because of the performance of Fantastic Four. I also think, and I don't know if you guys are feeling this at all. Maybe it's just me, like, but I feel like the way that Marvel has not even given us a chance to breathe. Like, we don't even have a chance to breathe. Like, you can't even debate whether or not Fantastic Four is a success and whether or not the Fantastic Four movie was successful enough to warrant those characters being the main characters of the next two Avengers films, kind of like out of nowhere. You don't even have time to think about that because Spider-Man Punisher, Spider-Man Sadie Sink, Spider-Man this, that, second, and the third, Chris Evans leaks, Doomsday this, Doomsday that, fucking Ryan Reynolds posting Doomsday stuff. Like, brother, I need a break. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like this, man, it just sucks. So anyway, let's get back to what did Jeff say about Downey? So Jeff said yesterday that he heard that for 3 weeks of material, Downey was off camera. There was somebody else in the suit, a stand-in, a body double. And they were trying to do something weird where Downey's off camera reading the lines for the scene and the other person is doing the body double acting. And look, here's the thing that's weird about this. Like, Jeff alluded to this being something similar to what happened with The Rock and the AI thing, which if you don't know about that story, oh God. Ugh. Pardon me. If you don't know about that story, like basically The Rock was essentially scanning himself and they were going to shoot like a couple of days and then make everything. Basically, dude, you know what it is? Everybody wants that fucking Pedro Pascal Mando gig. I'm dead ass. I think that's what it is. I think every actor, and this is so funny to me, right? This is so funny to me because there's a fucking whole shit ton of actors that would kill to even have one working gig that made them any semblance of money whatsoever. And we had all these actors and all these high-profile names and actors with all the strikes for the past couple of years. And then all of these fucking actors that are the most paid, you know, highest paid motherfuckers ever, like The Rock and Robert Downey Jr., turn around and say, how can we use this AI technology that's going to replace all of these motherfuckers to replace the little extra amount of work that I have to do on this set for this production right here? And that's like, look, is that a fucked up way to sort of frame it? Yes, but I dead ass think that's what it is. Now, when it comes to Downey, and I think this is actually important, they decided it wasn't good enough, right? So they did this for 3 weeks. Downey's off to the sideline reading lines. They have people doing weird body doubles and all this stuff. So according to Jeff, they realized it didn't work. Downey hated it. And so now they're refilming everything from that 3-week time period with Downey in the actual suit. 3 weeks is almost a whole month of shooting. Now that's crazy. Okay. But at the end of the day, I'm actually like, even though I do think there's a twinge of this that's like, it's a little fucked up because they're just trying to cut as many corners as possible. Like, and if that's what it is, like, that's fucked up. But at the same time, Downey is the guy. He is the thespian. He is getting paid the most money. He is essentially in the driver's seat of this whole thing. The highest paid person on that entire fucking set is him. And that includes when Bob Iger comes to visit set. Do you understand what I'm saying? So really the real bosses were RDJ. And I would have to say that although the first part of the story irks me a little bit, I would have to say this is probably something they were just trying to see if they could utilize the technology to make the entire process simpler. Because if this worked, then you can have that guy or other guys go film scenes with all the other actors while they're shooting with the other crews. So I would assume this was not just Downey being lazy. I would assume this was a technological thing to try to help the production. Maybe not just for this one, but for Secret Wars itself. And maybe like they just tried it, they looked at it, and they were like, "No, it's not going to work. Downey needs to be in there because the other actors really need to play off of him better." Yeah, that could be what it is, right? But what does that show you, though? If that's true, what does that show you? It shows you that this 7-month delay was very much needed, and that this crew and this guy getting back together has clearly not gone off without a hitch. There have clearly been many little hangups, issues, and problems with trying to make Robert Downey Jr. into Doctor Doom and make it all work on set. I guess the positive side of it is it seems like they at least are realizing this and they're tweaking it. They're working on the formula. They're going to make it better. They're going to keep trying it. So it's weird, right? It's a weird story. You know, it depends on how you want to look at it. I think the current mood on Marvel being down is making this story feel worse than it actually is. I don't think it's too, like, I think literally a month ago, like before Fantastic Four came out, and a lot of us thought, oh shit, Fantastic Four is going to break the mold and do more, like so much better than the other Marvel movies. If this story comes out then, and we're like, oh, so it's chaos on the set of Doomsday, kind of figured, you know what I mean? And by the way, we did get hints of this, right? So you ask Rebecca, or you ask some of the X-Men actors, are you done? And they're like, I'm not sure. They're still working on the script. That also could have sent people into a tailspin. But at the end of the day, that's normal. That's Marvel script writing bullshit, right? That's how they do it. Plussing is what Kevin calls it, right? So I don't know, man. I think on the one hand, yes, this story doesn't inspire much confidence. It's not like you're hearing, oh, dude, this movie's going off without a hitch. Like, dude, it's perfect. Which would be better. We did kind of hear stories like that for Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts. But then you turn around and you look at the performance and you're like, well, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four did not light the world on fire. Maybe we need the chaos. Maybe we need the fucking fucked up production where they're throwing everything at the wall. It's ambitious as fuck. You know, they're in the 25th hour or whatever. Like, however you want to phrase it. This might not actually be that bad of a problem. Like, it just, you know what it really means? They're cooking. They're trying shit. And they know it's big time. So the pressure's high. You know, Jeff described it as there's a lot of ego, a lot of testosterone, and a lot of shit like that on set for that. Hell yeah. Goddamn better be. Goddamn better be, man. I want that. I want people to be passionate, to take ownership of it. I want people to assert themselves. I want it to be a rigmarole with a ton of vision, a ton of ego, and I want everybody to be on pins and needles because they realize what a big deal it is. And they realize how important it all is, right? So, yeah, that's kind of the story. Now, connected to this, there was a little bit that Jeff said about T'Challa. And he said that he thinks they have their new T'Challa. And I think he even said who it was. It was the guy from Alien Romulus, right? I think his name is David. I forget the name of the dude. But, yeah, like, that's cool. We still don't know if it's the Toussaint character or if it's actual T'Challa. Probably Toussaint. But, yeah, I mean, all that seems like it's real, and it seems like that's what they're cooking. The issue there could be that appears to also be a Secret Wars thing. It seems like Marvel has some pretty wild things saved for Secret Wars, but unfortunately, it kind of seems like Doomsday has been like a gutted version of Kang Dynasty. That's basically, you know what the plot of Doomsday is? Somehow get all the players together and have Doom kill everybody. You know, that's what it seems like. So, you know, that's the news. I figured since so many of you guys asked me about it on Discord and you know, wanted me to talk about it, I would chime in. Am I worried about Doomsday? Fuck yeah, of course. We just found out leaks this week that I thought were terrible. And I think the movie's it's too simple. I think it's too safe. There's a lot of, I'm worried about the movie. Am I worried about the movie because of what Jeff said last night about the set? No. But that's just me. You know what I mean? You guys do what you want with all this shit. I'm just trying to report it as honestly and as best as I can. So there you have that. Live anyway. Okay, did we fix it? Did we save it? We might have saved it. I might have saved it here. Hey, don't you worry about it. Your boy saved it. Ayo! Woo! How's the audio, though? Should we fuck around with the audio for 10, 15 minutes or something? You know, I'm glad we saved the stream, but maybe we should fuck around with the audio for like 5, 10 minutes. How's the audio sound? Are we good? You look a little more orange now. Oh, fuck! Ah, shit! Change it! Ah, shit. Okay, so what are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts about this Doomsday report from Jeff? You think I'm coping here? Super chats? Well, I need some super likes. Just regular likes will do. Just give me some goddamn likes. We got 300 likes in here. Come on, man. The RDJ story screams a scenario with Doom bots to me. They're trying to figure out something where they can cut corners and have him do a lot. I agree. I think it's something about being able to shoot at scale. Yeah. Do you see Franklin was touching Doom's face and actually turning it into Tony Stark's face? Like RDJ's Doom, but their character is using Stark's face. I mean, I've seen that theory. I don't know that that's what it is, but yeah. I am not worried about the Snyder report. Fair. Have him at multiple places at once? Yeah, totally. Can you read my member milestone? Do you think Franklin will be touching Doom's face or actually turning into Tony Stark's face like RDJ's Doom, but the character using Stark's face? I don't know, brother. I don't think so. I don't think that's what they're doing. Percent chance Doomsday sucks. Honestly, it sounds like a production mess, but what movie isn't? I think the Russos can cook, but only if they're still passionate about Marvel. So here's the thing. I actually do think Doomsday is going to be good, but part of like why I think it's going to be good is because Marvel just knows it needs to be good. Technically, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are both really good. The question becomes, will it be satisfying? You know what I mean? And ultimately, I don't know that it will be satisfying, especially compared to Infinity War and Endgame, and especially compared, like, you just compare what it's like to be a fan right now with what it was like being a fan then. Nah. But what I would tell you is this. They're clearly going to lean on nostalgia. It feels like a play to give some of the current players a little bit of shine, and then totally sidestep them and make it all about the OGs. At the very least, it's all about Tony and Cap again. Not in a way that I'm particularly excited about, but it does seem like that's what it is. And also, too, I will tell you, so there's one thing, I'm going to bring this up here. There was one thing that Alex Perez said yesterday, and I'm going to go into a whole little bit here about it, because this is actually cool. This is actually really cool. And I was hoping Alex would say something, because basically between what My Time to Shine reported and what people told me about Doomsday, I got a swift kick in the balls this week and I was pretty down. And I was hoping that Alex would be like, oh, don't worry, all that shit's fake and King Thanos and all this cool shit's still coming. Now, he didn't say that, but he did say something that actually excited me a little bit. And so I want to get into that in a bit here. But before we do that, any other comments about the Snyder report? Deadpool Wolverine was satisfying. All they need to do is some nostalgia bit. Yeah, 100%. I think that's a good comparison. Like, I didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine that much as a story, but I had a really good time with it. And it was great for the fandom. Do you know what I mean? So if that's what Doomsday ends up being, and then Secret Wars is like just the craziest shit ever, yeah, well, it'll probably be fine, and people probably really still enjoy it. But the loss is the loss that I'm feeling right now is like, I just thought there would be more, and I just thought out of nowhere they could have taken a terrible situation and turned it into something really, really good. That's happened before, you know, and I always admire that when a creative is able to say like, oh shit, things are going really bad, here's something we're gonna do, we're gonna fix it up. And that doesn't appear to be what Doomsday is. Doomsday just appears to be like, let's just clean it up, rush to the finish line, and then get to Secret Wars. Not worried about the Snyder report, but hope Doomsday has the sauce and more than just a lead into Secret Wars. Yeah, totally. What if the untitled Marvel movie is Secret Wars Part 1? Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. But maybe. I suppose it's possible, yes. I suppose it's possible, yes. Okay, so let's talk about Clea a little bit here. Now, so Alex Perez tweeted just 3 words yesterday. Just 3 words that got me to tweet 3 words. Okay? Alex tweeted, don't trust Clea. And then I tweeted, "We're so back." Now, what does this mean? Why would I tweet this? How could these three little words get me to feel so good on a week where I'm feeling so bad? Well, as you know, we just got a ton of leaks about the plot of Doomsday. And I know there's some argument, there's some discussion, like some people are being like, oh, hey, I don't know that these leaks are real. Well, here's a question I would ask you. Why do you think none of the big leakers or scoopers or other accounts have debunked what I said yesterday? And if you think they don't know what I said, you're crazy. Okay? Now, maybe, you know, to be fair, though, because Shine reported the stuff about Evans, most people are just focusing on that aspect of it. But even that, like, that's something that's real, and that's something I'm talking about. The real thing about Doomsday is they're going to try to time travel to get Steve before he goes, and I don't understand how that makes any goddamn sense. And then the other side of it is, like, there's no reason for Downey to look like that, or Doom to look like that, right? But anyways, the point I'm making is this. In the wake of those leaks, which really kind of fucking depressed me and sucked a lot of the air out of the room for me, and I was like, man, like, that just seems like not very cool. Alex out of nowhere says, don't trust Clea. Now, why do I like this? Well, because it indicates to me that there's still some juice. There's still something in this movie that's going to be like a pretty crazy flip or pretty crazy reveal. Now, as far as we understand it, Doctor Doom is going to be hanging out with Clea at least the start of Avengers Doomsday. In the post-credit scene of Multiverse of Madness, he's recruited by Clea to go stop an incursion that he causes. Now, which one was it that he caused, right? Was it the ones from the movie, or was it by allowing Steve Rogers to go back in time, you know, during Endgame or whatever? But here's the point. Doctor Strange being with Clea, and the rumors that we had heard about that, because Clea was going to be associated with the Black Priests, and we were going to see like a multiversal thing with Clea. What I'm starting to think here is that Rabam Alal, the Great Destroyer, the Black Priest, and basically the concept from Jonathan Hickman's Time Runs Out event, which was the Game of Worlds, which was basically when all of these universes were being destroyed, etc., etc. In the comics, it eventually gets revealed that that's actually Doctor Doom, that Doctor Doom is behind all of that, right? And so what I think you might be seeing here in the Doomsday movie is the thread with Stephen Strange and Clea will probably be more interesting to us, the audience, than the story thread of the Thunderbolts and Sam Wilson's team and the Fantastic Four going into this other universe to fight against the X-Men and shit like that. I think for fans of Doctor Doom, for fans that want this multiversal saga to be much more extravagant and actually like make a lot more sense, this is our best hope. Our best hope is that Doctor Strange and Clea and their connection to this multiversal Game of Worlds and their connection to the incursions themselves will actually be well thought out. It'll be really interesting. And maybe the thread will still connect from that to Doctor Doom. Because remember, we did hear that Alex say, you know, Alex Perez had said two things. Mainly, the first part of his scoop was that when Kang was still the big bad, Kang and Doctor Strange were going to have some of the most interesting and important scenes of the entire Multiverse Saga. Now, a couple of months after it was revealed that Doom was the guy, Alex said that had basically transferred into the character of Doctor Doom. Alex had said that the scenes between Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange will shake realities and will be some of the most important scenes in the entire Multiversal Saga. Okay? So to me, these words here and this idea of not trusting Clea, it means that Steven will likely be brought into some kind of a scenario, and then Clea will flip. You will then understand that Clea and all of these other people have actually been causing great harm, possibly causing full-ass incursions, or potentially just pruning out the rest of the multiverse to make way for Doom's plan. That could be what it is. And that's really interesting because, you know, we've heard Doom has a team. Who's Team Doom? You know, who's Team Doom? And then it's like, what actors are even going to have big scenes with Robert Downey Jr.? It seems like Pedro's going to be a big one. I had hoped that it was Stephen Strange. And then when we got all this stuff with, like, you know, it's going to be Steve Rogers and all this stuff, like, that all just feels like funky and weird and not cool enough. So my hope is that through this Clea story, we still get some of that Doctor Doom, Great Destroyer, Rabum all energy. You know, I wouldn't mind it being actually revealed at the end of the day that it actually was all Doctor Doom. That maybe Doctor Doom went back in time to try to kill Steve Rogers already, and then he causes all the incursions or whatever. And I don't know that that's what it's going to be. It seems like they're afraid to do anything overly complicated or whatever. They just want to make it Steve Rogers because everybody was in the fucking theaters 5-6 years ago when Steve Rogers became old and lived with Peggy. So we got to draw it back to that thread because that's the last thing everybody really remembers. That feels a little bit lazy. I'm hoping that between Doctor Strange, everything they were building with Multiverse of Madness, the whole idea of incursions come from that character, that movie, that world. I guess I'm just holding out hope that there's still something more to it. That there's still something that's going to be fascinating and interesting and cool with regards to Doom. And I'm hoping that it now connects to Clea. Okay, so by Alex just saying don't trust Clea, it kind of connects to that whole thing. So definitely still hoping that that is what it is. Do you guys have any thoughts, comments on that? Here, I'll read this super chat here. RDJ could be reading as Tony or Iron Man against Doom. They film it twice. I think the leak is Doom lie to take control of the multiverse. Yeah, it could be that. It could be that with multiple roles, and maybe they want him to be able to play against himself. That could absolutely be what it is. But yeah, what do you think? It's not lazy, it's business. Well, sure, it's business, but, you know, maybe lazy is not the right way to say it. If I said it was safe, would that be a little bit more appropriate for you? You know, would that be a little bit more appropriate? And I would say, you know, you'd probably say, yeah, safe is a better way to phrase it. At the end of the day, the point is the same. Like, they're not doing something mind-blowing. They're not doing something absolutely fucking incredible and crazy. Endgame pushed all the limits, broke all the rules, and so did Infinity War. Maybe Secret Wars will do that. Maybe Doomsday will do that. But it feels like Doomsday is taking a pretty safe route, and Doomsday is just kind of doing something really simple and kind of rushing to the end. You know, that's my take on it. It's free real estate, 100%. I'd hope, but it seemed like they're just using RDJ to get them into Secret Wars and a new saga, which is sad. Yeah, I would like something more to it. You're doing that thing again where your theory is way cooler than whatever Marvel is cooking. It's possible. It's possible, but isn't it fair for fans to look at all the different options and avenues by which something really fucking cool could happen? I mean, because what's the other option here? To just be like, oh, I guess it's just going to be basic as fuck, whatever. No. I want that Jonathan Hickman energy, dude. I want some of the goodness, and I want Doomsday to shock people. I want Doomsday to surprise people. And the other thing, too, is like, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping these leaks get out there and maybe Marvel realizes that shit sucks. Look, at the end of the day, nobody's infallible, and a lot of people that are really talented do boneheaded, stupid decisions. Like, so Ryan Reynolds was dead ass going to call Deadpool and Wolverine Deadpool and friend. This dude's smart. This dude's savvy. This dude thought that was a good idea. The whole internet shamed him into changing it. We did good there, internet. You know what I mean? Kevin is really smart. Kevin thought the Thunderbolts New Avengers thing was a good idea. It's not. It was a fucking terrible idea. Okay? So these people should be, like, they should be willing to listen to the feedback here. You know, like, Kevin should deadass be like, man, I don't know. Like, Rob and Josh yesterday really didn't like this Steve Rogers thing. Maybe we need it to be a little more. Maybe we need a little more to it. You know? But whatever. Yeah. Is there any chance that Marvel is just putting way better at controlling leaks and maybe the recent ones weren't real? I have trust issues with the Russos. So look, man. Like, I could tell, like, here's the thing. I could tell you whatever I wanted to try to make you feel better. And I guess what I'll say is this. Is it possible they're fake? Yes. Do I think they're fake? No. Is it possible they're fake? Sure. Do I think they're fake? No. I think they're real. Mila Kunis thing, who reported that. Hell yeah. Mila Kunis is the thing in Secret Wars. Let's go. I refuse to believe the Russos would come back to make something less than Infinity War and Endgame. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, brother. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think anybody sets out to make terrible movies. You know, and maybe to the Russos, they actually think taking it to Steve is the right move. And maybe they're like, dude, no, like if we link this to Steve, then it's like evil Tony versus Steve. Like that's kind of cool, and like that could actually work and shit. You know? And maybe the Russos are really excited about that idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Are you asking me, like, do I think the Russos behind closed doors, like, at the end of the day of shooting, after they're like, oh my God, I guess we have to reshoot 3 weeks with Robert Downey Jr., do you think they closed the door to their trailer or whatever, and they're like, we're fucked. We're fucked. We came back, and we have no good ideas. The shit is totally cooked. We are totally fucked. I don't know. I'd like to believe that's probably not happening. You know, I'd like to believe they're probably like, no, we're going to do this. You know, we're going to do this. You know? You think most filmmakers do that? Yeah, I mean, like, everybody has doubts, right? So maybe there's some times where they have doubts and shit. But I'd like to believe that, like, the sky's not falling there and they're like, oh, we're totally fucked. I think they're probably like, wow, this is crazy. But after that 7-month delay, I bet they're like, no, we got this. We got the time. We have the money. The Russos weren't going to come back at first until they were given the version of the script, so there must have been something good in it. Yes, so the more correct way to say it is, the idea was there. They wanted to bring Downey back as Doom. The Russos did not think there was a good enough story idea to justify this, and then they cracked it. Now, according to them, they had this incredible idea that brings it all together, and this idea is what activated all of them. It's an activating idea. It got them to be like, hey, you know that thing Kevin wanted to do? If we do it this way, it could be cool. Right? So, yeah, I mean, there had to be something there that was inspiring. That was inspiring. But what I'm telling you is this. Like, Ryan Reynolds was inspired by the title Deadpool and Friend. And there were probably a bunch of people around Ryan that were like, oh, dude, that's so funny. And then it leaked, and the whole internet was like, that shit is stupid as fuck. And then Ryan was like, oh, shit, it is. So the question is, did the Russos think this is really cool? And now that it's got out to the internet, we're all like, actually, that's not very cool. You know what I mean? Like, is that what it is? I don't know, guys. Shit. I don't know. I just work here. So the activating idea was Steve clapping Peggy's cheeks. Yeah, you know what I was thinking? It was like, imagine we open Doomsday, and it's a scene with Peggy and Cap. And he literally like takes her into the back room and he just starts like clapping them cheeks. And as that is happening, we juxtapose the incursions and millions of voices screaming out as they all are destroyed and entire universes are wiped off. And you could literally like sync the cheek clapping, like clap, 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 clap to like boom, 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 boom. And universes are just, and Steve's just like, you know, the whole time. And it's just like, the universes are fucking destroying and everything. And then we come to a climax. Avengers Doomsday title rolls. I mean, look, these ideas are kind of like for free. You know, like you could hire me if you want. But at the same time, like, dude, like, it's so obvious. Like, and by the way, this is just another example. And I hate to do this, but this is just another example of the fan theories being so much better than what they're going to cook. Let's be real. Let's be real. Avengers Goons Day. Nice, man. Yeah. Yeah. And then Doctor Doom pops up and he's like, hope you had fun, Steve. You thought you were just clapping those cheeks. You were clapping the universe. And then Steve's like, were you watching the whole time? And Doom's like, maybe. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now we're cooking, baby. Hell yeah. All right, anyway, let's get out of this fucking segment. Let that boy watch. He need to learn. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Hey, did you find my PH searches? Did you hack my Mac? I don't know what any of that means, brother. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Okay. All right. Anyway. So, can we talk about Spider-Man a little bit? Dude, there's so, there's so much Spider-Man stuff happening. And there's, a lot of set photos. Dude, what the fuck is going on here? Set photos. Videos. All kinds of crazy stuff going on for Spider-Man, okay? And we've been talking a lot about, like, the villain, this, that, second to the third, Punisher, Hulk, all that. Well, one of the big theories we had was about Venom. Okay, and a lot of folks were like, yo, Venom's going to be in this thing, and there seems to be a lot of teases about Venom. So, interestingly, there was a photo that came out on the set that literally says symbiosis. And it has, like, the literal Webster dictionary of symbiosis on the set of Brand New Day, like, just on a random-ass wall. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And then there were some people that were starting to suggest that, yeah, Venom was going to be in there. A lot of teases from, like, the Scorpion actors, some of the Scoopers, et cetera, et cetera. So the redacted guy came out and said, and I do think this guy's accurate. He says, no Venom in Brand New Day. Don't worry. That's a bridge we'll cross post Secret Wars. So that's kind of wild. It almost makes it seem like there won't even be a Venom in Secret Wars. Maybe they'll save it for one of the other Spider-Man, and maybe it won't be Holland or whatever, right? But so what does this mean? It probably means, and I guess we'll wait and see, but it probably means, like, Venom himself not going to be the villain, and Venom probably not going to actually be, like, Spider-Man's suit. Like, I would imagine we will not see Tom Holland Spider-Man get the Venom symbiote, maybe till, like, the very end or something, maybe like a post-credit scene. But a lot of us thought, we were starting to think, oh shit, Venom's going to be a part of this plot, because Venom could explain Hulk, becoming more savage again. Venom could explain some of these other villains becoming very powerful, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe that's what it is. It kind of doesn't seem like it, But this dude said that they will tease it. They'll plant some seeds for Venom in Brand New Day, and then we'll see more of that, like, in the rest of the Spider-Man saga. So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like, is it kind of a bummer that we're not going to get Venom in this movie? Do you think maybe we still will? What do you think these seeds could be? And do you think it's possible that the symbiote and symbiosis is a thing in New York City? Maybe it's a new thing that some of the tech companies are trying to, like, get other people to acclimate to. I'm not really sure. Like, what do y'all think is going on with this Venom shit? And how do you think the seeds would be planted for this to then be, paid off and for there to be an actual Venom thing? Because, like, my thinking was they'd probably get him in the black suit before Secret Wars. Maybe they still will. Maybe it's going to be the exact comic book thing where he gets, like, the black suit and then they discover that it's symbiote, like, later on Earth 616 or whatever. But for me, I'm a little bummed, man. I was hoping there'd be some crazy Venom shit, and there was a lot of teases and a lot of fun, and then all of a sudden it's kind of seeming like maybe no Venom up in here. I don't know. What do you guys think, man? I don't care. Fuck Venom. What? Venom is awesome, dude. Venom is awesome, bro. I think somebody found the piece of Venom from the post-credit scene. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking, too. Probably going to happen while they're in the Void or on Battleworld. It'd be funny in the Void since the movies don't exist anymore. True. Spider-Man 5 is Venom. What? Maybe. He'll be inspired by Spider-Woman's costume, similar to the original Secret Wars. Oh, maybe. I think Venom will eat everyone. Yummy. Well, what's interesting is, like, I Sony clearly wanted more of a Venom push, you know? And it seems like they were kind of denied that. Like, I don't think Tom Hardy's going to show up in this movie. And and maybe that's what they mean, right? When they say, like, no Venom or whatnot. Even Alex had said he thought that Venom and Noel were something Sony really wanted, but now they've changed the direction. So probably not actually Venom in this film. But it is just kind of interesting given what all is going on. It's like, is Sony still trying to do their thing? Because it almost feels like Sony might be giving up, man. Sony's doing animated projects. Sony has the Spider Noir thing. They're not really greenlighting any movies, and they're just working on the next Spider-Verse film. Almost feels like they might be like, hey, y'all want Venom? Y'all want Venom? Y'all want to try Venom out? And give it back to Marvel. Could be. Tom Holland Spider-Man probably getting the symbiote suit. Well, that was what the rumors were, and it's still possible he does for Secret Wars, but it kind of seems like that's not going to happen in Brand New Day. I'd be fine with Sony doing Elseworld one-offs. Yeah, you know, maybe Sony, if they can collaborate well enough, I'd say yeah. Do it, man. Ziny says, no Venom doesn't mean no symbiote, plus Scorpion getting the symbiote before Eddie or Peter would make it not Venom yet. Fair point. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe the symbiote can still be involved. I think that would be cool, man. I would like that. I like the symbiote and all that, but just kind of reporting what I'm hearing. But you're right. Could still be the symbiote. Dog's going crazy out there. Listen to me. I think Spider-Man vs. Venom. Yeah? Wait, what? I can definitely see Peter getting the symbiote in Secret Wars like in the comics. Yeah, 100%. What's up, puppy dog? You trying to bark and go outside? Just chill out, bud. Maybe do something like Spider-Man in the 1960s when he was created. Ooh, that could be kind of interesting. Spider-Man 6, Red Goblin. Maybe. What's up? Oh, Leia, you want to get up here? Want to say hi to everybody? Oh, look. Look, now that she doesn't have her cone, she's okay to get up here. Oh, that's a good girl. Oh, Luke's here too? What's up, sweetie? What's up? How you doing? Oh, what a nice girl. She's doing good, man. She's doing better. You know, still not out of the woods yet. She got her stitches and staples out today. And she's in a better mood, so that's cool. Yeah, she's recovering nicely. You know, she's not out of the woods, but she's recovering. So, Venom Yummy. He could eat Thanos, but Doctor Strange could have the time stone to turn Thanos into a baby. What the fuck? I'm going to let my dog in now. There you go. Probably should. Hey, any other thoughts about this Venom shit with Spider-Man 4? Can we stay on target? I know Leia distracted us all. Why do you think his new web shooters are bigger than before? Probably just puberty. You know? Probably puberty, and you know, you go through some changes in the body when that happens. Who's more wild, Luke or Leia? Leia, 100%. Although I think she will be mellowed out a bit after this whole thing. She's already mellowed out a little bit. What do you think of the Council of Reeds will play a part, if anything? R.I.P. John Krasinski's Reed. Well, that's like another question I have, right? It's like, so what's up with 838? So I guess what I'm wondering is, are they going to do that thing where the main timeline had the Fantastic Four and the X-Men removed from it, or is that just now completely gone? Because I have a lot of trouble figuring out how Steve doing what he did would lead to a scenario where the Fantastic Four and the X-Men start popping up. Like, how does that even work? You got me laughing out loud at the worst possible time. Oh, sorry, my bad. I think it will have specialized web capsules like in the comics. Yeah, I think so too. Does he have Stark Tech or not? He had it in No Way Home. Apparently, he's not going to have Stark Tech in this film. He's building everything himself. That's what I've heard, which is cool. You know, that's good. That's good, man. That's good. Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Jay Firth says, how cool would it be if the Punisher got the symbiote and became MCU Agent Venom since Flash Thompson in the MCU sucks. Happy birthday, Liam. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, my son turns 3 today. I'm going to get out of here pretty soon because I want to go celebrate his birthday. And also got to clean the house and stuff so that we can, host people later. But, yeah, man, 3 years old. Appreciate that. Thank you. Punisher, Symbiote, Agent Venom would be cool. For sure. Of course that would be cool. I would rather, Frank, just get, like, a War Machine suit or have, like, crazy Stark Tech weapons. Like, that would be just as cool for me. But, yeah, I mean... Look, Flash Thompson Venom is great. The MCU Flash Thompson is like a millennial troll, and that kind of sucks. But it's not to say that he couldn't go, fight in war, get his leg shot off in Iraq, just like other Flash or whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, your chair looks sick. Thanks, man. It's pretty cool. Do you think Marvel would recast Daredevil or Punisher post Secret Wars? Probably not. No. Probably not. Doctor Strange can turn Thanos into a baby. Please listen. Okay, fine. I'm going to turn you into a baby. Moosh patoosh. Fuck out of here. Maybe Peggy being detained at the TV had a deeper meaning. I think so. Yeah. Look, here's what's tough about this whole Marvel conversation, right? They were cooking something with Steve from 2019. And like some people were like, oh, bro, they weren't planning that long. No, they were. They had something with Steve and the Stones, and they had it connected to Steve, for sure. But they also had all these other ideas, and they were cooking this other thing, and they were trying this, that, second, and the third. And I think they kind of just fell back on nostalgia, and I just don't think it's ambitious enough, man. I just don't think it's ambitious enough. Now, here's the thing. The Russos are great at getting to the core of it. And, like, do I think Downey's going to sell this shit? Yes. Do I think Chris Evans is going to sell this shit? Absolutely, man. Like, I think Evans is going to sell us on the heart of this thing. I think there's going to be real sacrifice. He's going to have to give up this life and become a hero again. It's going to be crazy, for sure. Like, I'm about it. That's great. And the Russos could pull it off. But it's also just the case that because here's the other thing that's really pissing me off about this whole situation, right? Like, do you guys, I really think these are fake leaks. Why is Marvel putting out fake leaks that are fucking better than what they're doing? Like Jean Grey versus Scarlett Johansson in a Magneto-controlled reality? That's cooler than Deadpool and Wolverine. It's cooler than anything you have in Deadpool and Wolverine. Why would you put that out? Why would you put that out? Oh, Doctor Doom destroys the whole universe that the Fantastic Four are in. They have to escape into 616. Oh my God. Franklin Richards, Galactus wants Franklin Richards so that he can reestablish his universe. Dude, that's fucking cool as shit. That's cooler than anything you have in the movie. Oh, and then by the way, the fucking evil Avengers are going to come back. Doctor Doom has King Thanos on his team. Doom is, a crazy Stark Van thing or whatever. Bro, that's so much cooler than what you're actually cooking. Why would you put out fake leaks that are literally cooler than what you are doing? That is wild. Like, that's the wildest shit I ever heard. And maybe the philosophy was, we're going to make it bait for the fanboys. Right, 100%. You're hitting it on the nail on the head. Maybe that's the idea, was like, we're going to put out bait for the fanboys. The problem with that is, brother, the bait's better than your shit. The bait's better than your shit. What do you think's been going on, man? You think all these people are disappointed in Multiverse of Madness and they got mad at me? I don't know. I just think it's silly. But I'm trying to keep an open mind, and I'm hopeful that the film will still be good. King Thanos with Doctor Doom, that's dope. Don't get your hopes up. It'll never fucking happen. Any idea what the July 2027 movie is? It's either Doctor Strange 3 or it's nothing. It's either Doctor Strange 3 or it's nothing. Maybe Black Panther 3, but probably not. By the way, Superman out on digital today. Anybody gonna buy it? Anybody gonna buy it and watch it tonight? I might get it this weekend, man. I'm playing Warhammer tonight after we get through all the festivities with Liam. I'm gonna play Warhammer with my buddy. But tomorrow night, maybe watch Superman on the OLED. Yeah. We can all watch it tonight and be like, "'Cause I'm destroying cinema. Yes, I am. Theatrical experience is dead. Yes, it is. You know." I'll illegally stream Superman. Right on. Nah, once was enough. What? You don't like Superman? Dude, that movie's good. Don't let all the gun fans and all the DC fans scare you off, bro. That movie was good. You know, I know they're being weird about it, and they're acting like they fucking made Infinity War and Endgame mixed with Citizen Kane for a 6 out of 7 movie that's going to digital 10 days early. Can't even beat Man of Steel, 12-year-old movie that it's trying to replace. I totally get all of that. At the end of the day, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. It's fun. What have the theaters done for me lately? I don't know, brother. I don't know, brother. John Station YouTube, thanks, brother, with a 10 spot, says, what if when Steve went back with Peggy, he was recruited by the TVA and worked as Nomad in exchange for a life with Peggy, and by doing this as Nomad, prevented Doom's existence? Happy birthday, Liam. Much love, Josh. See, I really fucking appreciate this, man. Number one, I appreciate the 10 spot. You know, thanks. You know, that's not cheap. I know you gotta really like dig in the wallet for that. And I know we're all struggling and shit and all that, but I appreciate it. So thank you. And also, dude, that's smart thinking. And I think there's a lot of room for ideas like this. There's a lot of room for ideas like this. There's room for speculation like this. And I'm going to get there. Okay? I'm going to take a little time this weekend. I'm going to try to brainstorm. I'm going to try to get positive. We're going to do some cooking. We're going to make some fun comments. I also am going to make more DCU content. Even though a lot of y'all in that fandom are fucking insufferable, I'm going to make more content because I still think it's cool. My issue is that it's a little disheartening because I feel like the theories I craft are literally better than what they do. I feel like a lot of what we think of gets just tossed out when it's inconvenient or hard for Marvel to actually execute on. And therefore, there's a part of me that's like, why would I spend all of this time like doing what you're doing right here, which is great and brilliant, and that's what the fandom used to be. But it's hard to justify that when like you feel like you would figure it out and make something awesome, and then Marvel's just gonna be like, what if we just like threw all that shit out? Now we're doing regular time travel again. You know what I mean? So, but I do appreciate it, man. Thank you. Who pays? Just pirate. What? Also, I'm Warhammering, then watching Superman. Hell yeah, dude. Hey, how many of y'all, just out of curiosity, guys, and Justin, you're going to get so mad, but it is what it is, man. Everybody's getting into Warhammer. How many of you this week have started to get just a little bit more Warhammer curious? You know, maybe all the Marvel stuff's got you down. Maybe the DC fans are driving you crazy. How many of you guys, in the wake of all of this shit this week, are just a little bit more Warhammer curious? Throw a 1 into the chat. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. RJ Phyllis says, happy birthday to Liam and my wonderful mother. Happy birthday to moms. 28 months of nerd venging. Have a great weekend, everyone. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. And happy birthday to your mom. Look at all these ones. Look at everybody. Look at everybody. All excited about Warhammer. Let's go. Warhammer sucks balls still. No. Star Wars Sith. No. Brother, you got to understand the greatness. You got to understand the greatness, man. Endgame, Infinity War days, past couple of outliers, bombastic spectacle, crazy multiverse movies are wonky. Look at Deadpool, Wolverine, No Way Home. Even the most celebrated flaws because the shit is... Huh? Yeah, no, I think I hear what you're saying. I've got you intrigued. Hell yeah, that's right where I want you. Happy birthday, Liam. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks, Josh. Much love. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it, brother. Star Wars Sith, no! You gotta trust. Look, Star Wars is cool, man, you know? At least it was. But we all gotta just fucking get on, man. We gotta understand, like, Hollywood cooked this shit, okay? The suits treated it like a factory. The presidents treated it like a commodity. There were very few people sticking up for the authenticity of the characters, the stories, the brand. And it all became goobly glob, okay? Star Wars got overcooked from corporate considerations and agendas and a terrible corporate culture created by a very bad president. Marvel made way too much shit and was treated like a factory by Disney, Bob Chapek, and Bob Iger. They cranked too much shit. It just was totally cooked. And, you know, DC, I feel a little bit bad for them because I think Gunn authentically has good ideas and I think he could actually turn that ship around. But at the end of the day, man, I think that when you really take a step back and look at the box office for Superman, it indicates that it just, like, maybe they can turn it around and get it to catch fire, or maybe some really good ideas and a really good version of this thing is just positioned poorly because everybody's fatigued on it. You know what I mean? And there's still a group that's going to support it, of course. But I think by and large, the world is ready for something new. We don't want the corporate considered bullshit anymore. We want somebody that's passionate about it. We want somebody that cares about the fans. Henry Cavill is uniquely positioned to be that guy. Like, he is that guy. He loves Warhammer. He's not going to make this shit. He's not going to do any of this shit unless it's right for the actual brand and the story and the fans of Warhammer, okay? Took them 2 years to negotiate just how to handle creative on this thing because Games Workshop is a company that takes its shit incredibly seriously. They've flirted with Hollywood, but they haven't taken that plunge. They are now taking that plunge because of Henry, right? So, like, dude, I'm just telling you right now, I think the world is looking for something new. I think fans, like a whole bunch of Marvel fans and Star Wars fans, we were there at the height of it, you know, and now we're all kind of like looking around and we're like, damn, like I want it to feel like it did before. Well, I don't know that it can with Star Wars. I don't know that it can with Marvel. I think it can with Warhammer. I actually believe that. Grandmaster Choda says, ready to hop on Warhammer, much like how Peggy hopped on Steve Rogers' Captain Schmeed America. Yeah. Happy birthday, little Josh Jr. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Will you watch Peacemaker Season 2? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. Josh, how far can the Necrons manipulate timelines? Can they shape it however they want, or do they have limitations? You know, I'm actually not super familiar with how that all of that time traveling stuff works with the Necrons. My understanding is it's confined by a lot of the other lore and stuff like that. So there's like a version of, there's like a way that it's always going to happen. I know the orcs have time travel a little bit too, which is kind of wild. There's that one orc that kills himself so that he has two versions of his pistol. I think it's a lesser developed part of Warhammer. There is time travel, but I also think there's like kind of predetermined destiny, things that just kind of have to happen. But the Necrons is a whole side of the lore that I am not super educated on. I need to learn more about it. I need to read the Infinite and the Divine. I actually want to read more about Necrons and like their codexes and stuff. One of the things that I find really interesting about the Necrons is that in his sort of zoo, or his, I think it's actually the Pariah Nexus, Trazyn has Custodes. He actually releases a Blade Champion, which is a very specific kind of Custode. He releases it during a big battle. It's like crazy, dude. So the Necrons are really cool, but I don't know enough about them. Don't know enough about their time travel. I just hope Warhammer doesn't turn out like a Warcraft movie did. Warcraft is cool. Warcraft's cool. I thought the movie was cool. I know that like for some hardcore people, it didn't do it. It's hard to say like, why didn't that work, right? Because Warcraft, right? Huge IP, very big. A lot of people care about it. There was a time when World of Warcraft was the biggest game on the planet. I think Duncan Moon is an incredible director. I think a lot of what they did in that movie is great. You know, maybe they made it too convoluted and crazy. Maybe they should have gone with like a simpler plot, and maybe that would have resonated more with like your average fans or whatever. Yeah, I mean, look, commercial art is a skill. It is a skill to take IP, to take ideas, and to make them palatable and attractive to a large group of moviegoers. That's a skill. And it's a skill that not everybody has, right? So it's tough. The Warhammer stream was too surface level. We're going to need a 6-hour Warhammer stream. Well, Warhammer is, especially for that type of a stream, I think that surface level is good. But Warhammer is one of those things where, like, dude, there's almost an infinite level of layers you could peel back and detail you could drill down on. And I think that's a part of the joy of it, right? But diving right in, and it's something I've thought about with like my Warhammer content too, because it's certainly a little bit more based for like beginners or people just coming into the hobby. I want to give value to old time lore heads as well. And I know that I have the ability to do that. But at the same time, I am new to the lore. So I think it's appropriate to, like, as I learn more about it, as I get into it, kind of create a body of work that matches up with where I'm actually at in the hobby and the lore myself. But I mean, there's stuff in Warhammer that, like, so I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll leave you on this thought. Are you guys familiar at all with the Fisher King? The Fisher King from Arthurian myth. Does anybody know what that is? Bam, 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 bam. So the Fisher King is a wounded king. And depending on the version of the myth, sometimes he's wounded in the stomach, sometimes he's wounded in his sexual organs, okay? And the whole idea is that he's wounded, he's kind of like rotting from the inside, he's falling apart. And the whole myth is that the king is falling apart, and therefore the kingdom is falling apart. Okay? So the king is falling apart, the kingdom is falling apart. And everybody that visits the Fisher King, they're told that there is a single question that they could ask that would revitalize and save the king and then save the kingdom. And, there's different versions of the story. So actually, I think it's in the Green Knight. If you've watched the Green Knight, that is the Fisher King is a part of that story. And Gawain, like, there's different versions of Gawain's story and the Green Knight story. Some that he actually does become honorable at the end, some that he doesn't. He remains kind of a douchebag or whatever, right? But the whole point is this: the myth of the Fisher King. The resolution is to ask the question, to whom does the Grail serve? And the idea of that is you break the cycle by actually making sure the king is okay, by like healing and revitalizing the king. And so the thing is, the Emperor in Warhammer is the Fisher King. He is the Fisher King. Like when Warhammer's first conceived in 1987, when they go into second edition after Rogue Trader, there is this line about the Emperor, and it's this very famous like expression and story about him. And he is established as this half dead, half alive corpse of a being that is stuck between life and death in forever agony as he keeps the Astronomicon lit. Okay? So the whole idea is, this character is conceived along the lines of that myth from the very start. Now, what's interesting about that is you fast forward to now in the modern era, the modern times of Warhammer 40K. Dan Abnett and a lot of these other Black Library writers have really expanded and developed the lore of the whole setting. Well, one of the things they're working on right now is this whole idea of the Star Child, the whole idea of the King in Yellow. And then there was a vision that Lionel Johnson was given by the Emperor, which, by the way, in the Lion Son of the Forest novel, it is so obvious that the Emperor is the Fisher King because he's literally fishing on the river, and he looks just like he did in the myth with like the thin crown and everything. And I can't believe more Warhammer fans, especially Brits, haven't picked up on this, because this is your history. This is your shit. But the point is, if you look at what that myth is about, and then you look at what's going on with the King in Yellow and his grails, right? Like, why are they called grails? Why do you think they chose to call those like good demons or imperial demons grails? And then you realize there's a literal grail, a goblet full of blood, in the vision that the Emperor gives to Lionel Johnson. If you put it all together, it is the myth of the Fisher King, and how it will end is the grail revitalizes the king, thereby revitalizing the kingdom. It's so obvious where this is all going if you think mythologically. But sometimes you also have to go surface level. And sometimes you have to be like, hey, here's what's cool about the successor chapters of Space Marines. Hey, here's like the basics of the Blood Angels and shit like that. Because once you are brought in and you can appreciate what the lore is, you can then peel back some of the layers of the storytelling and understand the greater significance and have fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. Arthur was most likely a Britanno-Roman general who fought against the Saxons. All the mythical stuff was the 1100s and 1200s fan fiction. Yeah, it's very possible, but like to say, like what I would say is this. Yeah, you're probably right. There's a difference between the historical author and Arthur, and then who is mythical Arthur. I would argue mythical Arthur has had a bigger impact on that culture, on those people, than historical author. In some ways, the mythical version of Arthur is more real. Hi, Josh. Your audio sounds great. Please share what Rodecaster settings used if you use presets as a podcast neutral. Cheers from the UK. I appreciate it, man. I'm not using shit, man. I got I'm on Streamlabs desktop. I think I got a couple of filters on here, but mostly I just have a Yamaha mixing console. Okay, we got the Rode, or the, what is it, Shure SMB, this thing. Got 48 volts go intuitive ghost power, phantom power. Yeah, that's it. Why Toby not playing Spider-Man again? I think he will. But probably for Secret Wars. I think it was probably like, yo, do we want to throw Toby in with all these other characters that we're trying to make work for Doomsday? And they were probably like, nah, save it for Secret Wars. And I think that's good and appropriate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, there's no settings. There's no settings, brother. There's just plug it in. Does it work? I will say I adjusted the audio a couple of weeks ago, and I discovered that I was running double phantom power to it. And when I reduced the phantom power to it, it generally got better. Now, it's a little bit delayed and, you know, whatever. There's some issues or whatnot, but yeah. 90% of Brits don't care about King Arthur myths. Not going to lie, it's more popular in America. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I really like how Warhammer uses a lot of mythology. You know what I mean? It's really, really interesting. They should do a Moonlight and Blade team up. Who's Moonlight? R-rated, and that would be hype. Yeah, you're probably saying Moon Knight, and yeah, that would be cool, man. That would be cool. We'll see. Maybe they'll cook some cool stuff for the next saga. For the next saga. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna get on out of here, man. Yo, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for a good week of fun streams, fun clips, and all sorts of cool stuff. You know, I thought it was a good stream yesterday. It was a little bit sad. We had a good combo with Rob, of course. And, you know, there's a lot going on. And I was soon, hey, guess what? If I had to guess, there'll be a lot going on next week. I hope we get a break. I hope they stop making set photos for Spider-Man. I hope the actors stop teasing shit for Doomsday. I hope Doomsday goes on a little break. What? Maybe they shut down all the Marvel productions. Give all the productions a break. Give us, the fans, a break. And let me catch up on my Warhammer content. Bro, like, I think it would do us some good, but you know what? That shit's not going to happen. I promise you. Monday, the craziest fucking Marvel news you've ever heard. Oh, my God. James Gunn's saying some shit again. Oh, my God. Here we go. So that'll be what's going on next week, 100%. The Exodus says, if Doom were seeking out Nomad, he couldn't swoop in with the stones and stop him, and we're missing some context. That sounds a lot better. Yes, there is context. There is stuff that could be a lot better, and I'm open to it, brother. I was just a little shocked this week, and I'm a little burnt out. That's all. But don't worry, we'll get at it. But here's my issue, though, right? So, like, what am I really saying to you? That next week I'm going to get my shit together and cook out all sorts of ways that are going to be way better than what Marvel ends up doing? Yeah, probably. And we'll have a lot of fun talking about it. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is like next week, don't worry. I'll get back at it, and we'll come up with so many better ways than anything Marvel could possibly conceive of. And then 3 months down the line, we'll find out none of that's happening, and we'll get super pissed again. That is what it is. You know what I mean? You've always been here, Mr. Tomlin. You've always been here. All right, everybody. Much love. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. Star Wars is totally fucked. Marvel's totally cooked. And DC, don't even get me started. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Dedicated Star Wars week next week, dude? What the fuck? Hell no. You want me to spend a whole fucking week talking about that dead-ass franchise? God damn. Whole goddamn week talking about that fucking fried-ass shit. Anyway, is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man, what a crazy week. I didn't expect it. You know, when Monday started off, it's not like I was like, yo, what if we find out Doomsday is lame this week? But we did. That's kind of tough. Anyway, I think we all handled it pretty well. You know, I think we all handled it pretty well, and Spider-Man does look cool, and maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s will get onto the set and actually put in a good performance and all that, and, you know, we're going to be all right. I don't know, guys. Fuck. All right, everybody. Thank you for the well wishes. Happy birthday to Liam. I'm going to get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Do me a favor. Do me a favor, though. Open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butt out.